So, hello everyone. In this task, we were supposed to make two modes. One would be moving the LEDs from left to right, and then vice versa. And the other one was moving the endpoint LEDs to one another direction, and one would be fading by 1000 milliseconds, and other would be changing the intervals after the 500 milliseconds. So let's look into that. Created three different files. One is the header file, other one is CPV file, and the basic file main program. But the main program just does the setup part, so it just runs the code, whatever inside the .cpp. And I'll be showing you the circle later on and describing how that works and everything. So let's look into the header file. Given we have to define the first define that name and then including these libraries, and after that the enum basically means you are increasing the readability of your code, and second another enum. So all this thing was actually done in 2.0p, so that's pretty much similar. Only thing is like we are initializing this another function that is run task 3. So we have actually done this .cpp file. Now it is using that header file and the SAM file because we will be coding in CMSIS and then the Arduino libraries. And in order to do that, we have these 6 LEDs. In this task, we have 6 LEDs. That's what we are dealing with. So we have these two ports. One is port A and port B. And in this again, when we are talking about the unit 8 T and the LED pins, we are basically talking about the vendor independent pins. So those would be PA10, PA11, PA18, 20, 21, and 16. So you have to be pretty clear about that. And then the other thing is like, again, this is the part of the previous task. So same thing over here. We are providing it to hand, which is with basically a helper function that we are dealing with, turning one A to a number, and that's what we are doing here. And same goes with DB. Then the other thing that we have is configuring the GPIO pins. Same thing done, reading those pin and writing those pin and then reading from those pin. Then we are clearing the LED. This is a new function. So we are clearing that LED and writing on to it. Then we have this variable. So variables tells you what current mode we are actually dealing with. What I mean by that is we have two modes. One is the night rider, then the other is the catch me. So in case of this, I have set the default to be the night rider. So whenever I'm running my code, the first thing that it does, the first mode that is at default is the night rider. So in order to tell its state, now first the index would be for the first LED, as there are 6 LEDs. First index would be 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's and the direction. So direction could be 1, which means you are moving forward, or either the direction could be -1, you're moving backward, and it changes vice versa. You run the code, and when it's at the last interval, last LED, it shifts its direction. Then we have set the time. The beginning time would be 0, so the last time is initialized to be 0. Then after that, we have the catch me state for it. The left side would be 0, and the right side, the rightmost LED would be total LEDs -1, because total LED is 6, and we are starting the index from 0, so -1, and it would be the last LED would be 5. So, and then moving on to it, we have the left direction to be true and the right direction to be false. Time at the beginning should be 0. So that's what here we have initialized. And then after that, we have the night rider setup and then catch me setup. So let's look on to that, and firstly assigning the millis, like what time currently we are dealing with. So it's set to now minus the last time that we dealt with this mode, and if it's greater than 10, update it. If it is greater than 100 milliseconds, update it. Okay, so then resetting the timer if that's happened, and clearing all the LEDs. We have the right GPIO pin, which basically means what we are dealing with currently, that current LED, and it should be turning high. Like if you are at the index 2, it means you're turning on the third LED and turning its state high. Then checking the direction, whether it should be current direction would be. Is it -1 or 1? Depending on if you're moving, if you just started and or are in between, and then if you're at the last LED, it would change the direction. Here's that part where it changes the direction. Then looking at the catch me setup step, it has the same thing. The only difference is we are moving two end LEDs together to different directions, and we have to check that. So clearing all the LEDs in the beginning, and then GPIO would be like stating the leftmost and the rightmost high, because we want both the LEDs. We are dealing with both the LEDs simultaneously and then moving. So that's what here I've done, and then moving from the left. And when we are dealing with the leftmost LED, the interval is 1000 milliseconds, and when we are dealing with the rightmost LED, we are dealing with the intervals that is 500 milliseconds. And then we have the run task 3. So there it begins. We have set our board to be 9600 bit, and then it starts the serial monitor, and what it prints is like you have selected 1, 2, whatever you have selected, it will deal with that. And as I have talked about earlier, like the default would be 1. And then the thing happens, it gives the output and mode, and if first is true, then it tells the current mode is changed to night, and if this you typed 2, if the first mode was working and you typed 2, then it changes the mode and it displays again and again. So that's how you do it, and then the basic thing. All of this is working due to this because we have to call those functions in here. So let's look onto the circuit and everything with that. So the code is already uploaded, but I'll do it just for a second, like pressing the reset button, and it will start again. Okay, it says offline, lost the connection, and the connection should be back. Just a second. Again pressing it, and it shows the option like whether you want to select 1 or 2. The default would be 1, as I talked about earlier. So it's moving from here to here and again. As you can see, not both of the LEDs are activated at once. So let's move to the mode 2 by actually now enter, and it said catch me, as you can see. And let's talk about the circuit here. So I have these pins connected. These are the anode pins, so those are connected to the resistor and to all the anodes individually of all the LEDs, and one cathode terminal connected along this to the ground pin of this, and all the pins I have discussed earlier. So this is how you do it. Thanks for watching the video.